come inside, let's have a little start on this.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to Bloomin Jacks. You're going to deserve the toast, don't you think? Okay. Nice to see you all, guys. Some new faces and some old faces. So, welcome to Ongar. We're going to do this little hand tie workshop for you. So some of you will remember bits from workshops you've done before, but if there's anything you don't know, just give us a shout, talk to me, ask me any questions you can. It's not a problem at all. So we're going to do a little white and green hand tie, so it's nice and classy and elegant, simple. So remember with our hydrangeas, we're going to take as many leaves off as possible. The reason we do that is because we want all the water to go to the flowers rather than the leaves, so we take them all off. So when you're cutting any flowers, if you bought flowers from the supermarket or you bought flowers from a florist, as soon as you get them home, make sure you do a nice fresh cut, really sharp scissors or a knife, and put them into water. If you're going to arrange them yourself, give them maybe a day, overnight, just so they settle in, absorb some water before you start arranging them. It's always better that way. We've got some nice bit of lily here. I know lily's got a bad reputation for just for funerals and things, but I think they're great. They fill out a bouquet really well. And I personally love the smell of them, the look of them, everything. It looks really great. We've got some lovely roses. We've got these. Does anyone know what these are? No, so this is like a garden veronica. So it's quite a country flower, grown really in Europe and in the UK, really quite naturally. It's really fantastic. Then we got a berry here, which is called hypericum, and then bravadia. So these beautiful little white flowers that come in, open up like a little star, which is quite cute. And then we're going to use a couple of different types of foliage. So take that around and pass it around and have a little sniff and see if anyone recognises that smell.
With E.
It does, unless you're dyslexic. Then you can start with whatever letter you want it to be on. That's the thing. So yeah, so this is eucalyptus. So this is a type called robustus. I think it's fab. Some of the other eucalyptus you get doesn't last very long, where this nice big leaf tends to last. It's really good if you, for the essential oils, even just drop a couple of leaves into a burning candle, you do get the smell. And then this here is called leather leaf. So again, grown in South Asia really, but a fantastic woody plant. Right, so what we're going to do, and this is what you've got to remember, we're going to have this, in the design, we're going to have this one hydrangea on one side of the bouquet and then all the other flowers going around, and then we're just going to tie it with some twine. So when you're conditioning flowers, like I said with the hydrangea, you're going to strip all the leaves and make sure there's nothing there. With the roses, we're going to use these strippers and literally just pull them down to make sure there's no thorns on there. Flowers will last longer if you make sure there's no leaves in the water. It's the bacteria that comes out of the leaves that turns the water and it kills the flowers. There's some flowers that you shouldn't put together, but roses are one that really should be on their own, to be honest with you. But they do work well in a bouquet, so you just can make sure you're changing the water and then they're absolutely fine. So we're going to start, and this is exactly what I want you to do, is build up a little base of foliage. So a couple bits of the leather leaf and the salal. And what you want to do is you want to keep your hand quite open. So you don't want it if you have it too tight, it's going to be too rigid, you're not going to push anything through. So quite loose, because then you can actually feed the stems through the hole you made with your hand. So you can just place them rather than just chucking them together. Imagine you're going down a field and you're like grabbing a load of flowers. That's what that is. Yeah, it's very poetic, I know. So that's the easy bit. So we're going to add the hydrangea onto one side, like that. We're going to add our lily stem into the centre of our greenery. So we're going to push that stem all the way through, like that, so it fits in. It's a nice lily in the centre. We're going to add a little bit more of this, which is eucalyptus robustus. Okay. This foliage all the way around that hydrangea.
Can you make it look a little bit more difficult so we don't look so stupid?
No, it's fine. You'll be fine. You'll be good, don't you? You've done these before. You're the expert. Just setting you.
I've bought them.
Then we're going to add some hypericum berries.
Is it generally like a rule to follow? Is like what flower goes in the middle and then goes around the outside?
Only in this sort of design that I'm doing. I mean, if you were doing a hand tie, you would just build it up like a normal hand tie. You'd just be building it up, just layers and layers and layers. But where I'm just using my hand is keeping that as rigid as possible, the design. It's just making it a bit more modern, a bit more contemporary style. So we're adding the Bouvardia. So these Bouvardias last for about 10 to 12 days. So they're not the longest lasting flower. Again, just making sure there's no leaves that are gonna touch the water. And then we're gonna push this lovely Veronica through. So the idea is with this bouquet, we've got loads of different sizes of flowers, styles of foliage, so it's got loads of different textures and tones. I like, with the white and green, this silver eucalyptus leaf just looks so classy. So we can now just start pushing the rest of that Veronica through. So you've got 5 stems of this Veronica for this design that I'm doing. Putting it up like that. So, obviously, if we were doing a really big bouquet, if you think about Valentine's, Alice, because I'm sure you get loads of roses at Valentine's, big bouquet, my hand could not carry all those roses with the weight. So we would just tie this now,
And then add.
and then you can just add and keep tying. So that's how you get those really big bouquets, because obviously my hand couldn't get that big. So you see that hydrangea just sitting just on one side. I just love this sort of style. And then we'll push these roses in. Now these avalanche, some people would take the outer petals off the flower, but I quite like them when they just go that sort of mottled green. So I keep them on. So that's the nice little style with that. So that is our design. Right, what's good about these benches is you can hold the bouquet on the side of the table without damaging the flowers and wrap the twine round. So just going to do a couple of ties. Just make sure there's no greenery. Right, and again, cutting the stems at a nice sharp angle. Don't put too many stems through the scissors. Just do a couple at a time. All you do is pull the string up. Make sure your flowers are in position. Right. And that will stand up as it is. That is your true test that you've made your curl right. So that means we can wrap it in cellophane and brown paper and put it into aquapack, and that's fine. So that is our hand tie that you are going to do. Right, do you have a little look at that? You can take it right straight around. The round of applause can come later. Nice.
But if you were going to put it in a vase, do you always have to cut the twine, or can you just?
No, you can leave it. You can leave it, yeah. But you're going to be getting so good at bouquets and arranging that you could just refresh it.
Really?
But obviously, if
so you take out what's going and just
because no flowers will last all the same time throughout the whole bouquet. So it's always good to be taking it out.
Yeah.
Anything that's starting to turn, because then it's just going to make the flowers last longer. The lilies, could last 3 weeks. Roses, sort of 10, 12 days, absolute max. But the hypericum, the berries, will last a long time. The eucalyptus, if you take it out of water after a couple of weeks, it dries really nice and you still get a smell. And it's good for preventing spiders. Spiders hate eucalyptus. So
that was like all on cue. We all did that.
Right, so if we find ourselves some secateurs, you've got flowers around the room, so if you grab whatever you need, you don't need to take it all at once, so if you want to build up your foliage first, yeah, you can do that. All right, good luck.